Hi, welcome to The Real Dad Show. I'm Jimmy, your host. On today's episode, I'm going to be interviewing my best friend Jerry. He's like a brother to me. I've known Jerry a little over 3 years. We met in elementary school. We've been best friends ever since. I kind of lost touch with Jerry sometime around high school. He ran away from home, disappeared, dropped off the face of the earth. Couldn't find him for years. But thanks to the miracle of Facebook, I was able to find Jerry about 7 years ago, and it's been like we never lost touch. Jerry has been a really positive and important person in my life. My mom helped raise him. That's why I say he's kind of like my brother. So, we're going to be interviewing Jerry on what it's like to be a single parent. Jerry has a son and daughter who are in elementary school. They're only about a year or two apart. And we'll be talking about the differences in raising a boy versus raising a girl, some of the things that they go through, and how he deals with those. We'll also be talking about some of the challenges that he faces being a single parent. We'll be touching on some topics that are a little touchy, like domestic violence and depression. I just want to remind you that I am not a mental health professional or a medical professional, and neither is any of the guests on my show. So if you're experiencing any mental health issues or you feel like your life's in danger, call 911 and seek the help of a professional. As you can see, I'm wearing a t-shirt from Double Punches Boxing Club in Santa Rosa, California. My brother Richard is the founder and runs this club. It's geared to get children off the streets and out of drugs and out of gangs and getting them to do something positive. So if you're in Northern California, stop by Santa Rosa, look up Double Punches Boxing Club. Tell my brother Richard that his baby brother Jimmy sent you there. Put your kids in some of his classes. Take some classes yourself. You'll be amazed at how well you feel about yourself and how positive impact doing sports will be on you and your kids. If you want me to promote your business, send me a message and we'll talk about it. Maybe I can wear one of your t-shirts or have a business card or some kind of flyer that shows what business you have and where you're geared to. Also, hit the like button, hit the notification button, and comment below. Let me know how you like this video. Without further ado, let's get on to the interview. Here's my brother Jerry. Okay, as I said before, this is Jerry, my best friend. Known each other since elementary school. Jerry's a single father of 2 children, a boy and a girl. And we're going to be talking about the differences between having a boy and a girl, especially since they're both in around the same age rate. And let's see where it goes. So Jerry, what's the difference, would you say, having a boy and a girl at the same time? What are some of the differences that you've had to deal with being a single parent?
Well, the difference raising a boy and a girl, especially since the girl is older, they're 16 months apart, is that boys are finding real easy to take care of. Because he doesn't really need much. We wrestle around and stuff. My daughter doesn't like to wrestle around anymore. She's becoming a girly girl, she's getting older. And she's more or less pushing me away because she wants a female to talk to. I guess you could say it's a little heartbreaking, but I keep trying to remind her that, hey, I was her age once. I may not be a female, but I'm still there for her.
Your daughter's really smart, and so is your son. So that's a good thing, but boys are around the corner. Trust me, I know. I have 2 daughters. That's something I deal with all the time. My daughters, on the other hand, are very close to me. Ever since they were babies, I was the person mostly in their life, the figure that they saw the most, me versus their mother. So we forged a pretty good bond. But yes, they are open to talking to me about boys. We only talk so far, and then when things start to get a little bit too much, I'll refer them to Amelia. But I try to talk to them about anything. And my daughters know they can come to me about anything. So that's pretty fortunate. What would you say is some of the challenges? First of all, how long have you been a single dad? And what was the first challenges that you started off making the transition to a single father?
Well, I've been a single father since August of 2012, and that was because my ex was very abusive, verbally, physically, you name it, she did it. The challenge is they were young, they were always home, but not having a vehicle at the time and not having my license because of certain things at that time, it was harder for me to even enroll my daughter in preschool when she was 4 years old. So she started school a year later than most kids, kindergarten. She started TK and then went into kindergarten. But the challenges I really find hard is being mom, because I don't know how to be a female. I don't have that natural nurturing nature about me, and I wish I did, so that I could be a better father. I really love my kids, and I want them to have the best in life. I want them to be better than me.
Okay, that's deep. Well, remember, like I said, I call you my best friend. I also call you my brother because we basically grew up together. We've known each other since we were, 10, 11, 12, somewhere around in there. And you spent so much time at my house that my mom treated you like a child, like one of her children. And you called her mom, you still call her mom. And we were fortunate that we had mom who was a single mother pretty much my entire life, raised 12 kids, including me, the youngest. She taught us how to be loving and nurturing. So that's what I learned. That's where I learned to be a good parent, to be able to act as mom and dad, because I learned from mom how she was so self-sacrificing and loving and nurturing. She treated you better than she treated me. She liked you better because she always said I was a bad influence on you. Try to draw from mom and those experiences. Perhaps that'll help.
Well, my daughter is always asking for a mother because she wants a female to talk to. Talking to dad is not the same as talking to a mom. And I keep telling her that's not going to happen. Unfortunately, I'm one of those type of guys that's always put in the friend zone. And they know that their mother's out of prison now. She's been out since about the end of August, and she spent 18 months in there, didn't write them a letter, didn't try to call them, no contact whatsoever. She's out now, and the kids know that she's out, and still no attempts of contacting her own children. She lost 3 others to adoption because of her charges. And just seeing her look in their faces when they think about their siblings that they don't get to see anymore, or their mom who's not trying to see them, I can only imagine how they are feeling. They probably feel like she doesn't love them, and it's hurtful.
That's really heartbreaking. Have you tried to talk to them about this? Their mother being gone, their mother not speaking to them this whole time, the possibility of her getting out and recontacting them? Something you've discussed with them yet?
Actually, yes. I discussed with them when she went to prison. And I've been very truthful with them throughout the whole thing. My daughter says I've told white lies to them when they were younger, but she understands why. And I've even told them I don't know where mommy's at now. She's out. Supposedly she's supposed to be back up here, Who knows where she's at? I don't even know what she's thinking, but I tell them that their mom loves them. And I even got some pictures of their mom. They say they don't remember what mommy looks like, so I got a picture of their mom and a picture of her holding each one of them, so I'm going to print those out for them.
See, that's important to let them know that there's no hard feelings between you and their mother. They know that there's always going to be some kind of animosity or some kind of anger because, let's face it, you were a victim here. Something I've tried to promote with my kids is I've given them pictures that I've had of me and their mother, us as a family, so they can hang them up in their room. They can see the happy times and not always remember the bad times, because they were witnesses to a lot of the stuff that their mother has done, and it's left a lot of emotional scars on them. Fortunately, I'm remarried now to a wonderful woman. I know you've all met Amelia, or at least some of you have. And she's not the jealous type to her. She doesn't mind that I have a family picture in the living room with me and my ex-wife and all the kids, because it has a picture of my mother in it. And unfortunately, it's the only picture I have of my mother before she passed away holding Emily. I don't have any other pictures of her holding Emily. And Emily was just a baby, and it means a lot to me to have that picture. And when I try to crop it, it just ruined the picture. So I asked her, and she doesn't mind. So it's important to let them know that it's okay that they have a relationship with their mother, and they'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, speaking about Mom, I wish she was around so she could see Joey Marie and Nico. Even when they were babies, I would have loved to have her seen them and to see me, see how I've grown and matured.
I read a really good saying last night, a really good quote that said, how did it go? Be the parent to your children today that you want them to remember tomorrow. That's important. So kind of along the lines of what you've been saying, I know I say a lot. It's my nervousness being in front of the camera, but I think I'm getting a little bit better. I self-consciously see it, and I try to tone it down. So what would you say is the biggest challenge that you've had raising your son from the time he was born, the time you were single, to the time now, today?
Well, see, from the time that both my children were born, like you, Jim, I was there. I was in the delivery room for both my children's births. I cut the umbilical cord. And I know traditionally the mother is the first to hold the baby after the nurse cleans the baby up and checks them and stuff. But that wasn't the case. I was the first one before my ex-wife got to hold the babies. I was the one that got up with them in the morning or the middle of the night when they were hungry. I put them on the boob, and I burped them and put them back to bed and changed them. My goodness, my ex-wife never got up before 11 o'clock in the morning. So, that was the biggest challenge, was when they were babies. And I barely got any sleep and was being abused at the same time, all called lazy because I'm up all night long with the babies, cleaning them, if they got sick, cleaning them up, doing it all. And then she would leave the house with them and use them like trophies, that's what a lot of people said. She treated them like trophies, like she was the only one who's ever had a baby. So, but the question is, what was my biggest challenge? Was exhaustion. That was the biggest challenge. Not so much anymore, because my daughter, she helps out more around the house. She's more willing to help out, and my son, he doesn't like to do his chores or keep his room clean like I ask him. But I can't fault him because he's still trying to find himself right now, and I know I need to help him find himself. But one of the blessings that I get from raising these two is all the hugs and I love yous and you're the best dad. Every day I hear that. Even when they're having a bad day and they get in trouble, I still tell them I love them, no matter how mad I am at them. And we still hug and kiss and tell each other we love each other. So, the challenges are always going to be there. There's always going to be new challenges in my life, especially with these two, fighting with each other because they're so close in age. But the love that we have for each other is pure. And I wouldn't give this up for anything.
See, Jerry, you're underestimating yourself. You are very nurturing. Just listen to what you've just said. Those are things that you learned from Mom. She was always listening. She didn't talk over you. Sometimes she didn't know what to say, but she was always there to listen, hear what you had to say. And she knew your background. She knew that you were worse than a latchkey kid. And she would make sure to go out of her way to make sure that you knew that you were loved and you were cared for. When it came down to buying you clothes, making your favorite food for dinner, letting you stay over for months at a time, making sure you were clean, taking a shower, brushing your teeth. Those are things that you learn from Mom. And when you say you're not nurturing, I've seen you with your children. I've seen you interact with your children here in my house, and when we went up to go see you guys. You're a very great father. You're a tremendous father. So you underestimate yourself when you say you're not nurturing. You're not a female, but you don't have to be. You're not Mom, you don't have to be. You are doing double duty as Mom and Dad, but you are fulfilling those roles better than you're giving yourself credit for. So what would you say that you spoke of your son? I want to say their names because I'm used to that, so I'm trying to respect your privacy by not saying their names. But as your son, you said that you need to help him find himself. What were some of the things that you guys have done together, or that he's moving towards, or you've noticed that he's moving towards to find himself? What do you mean by find himself? And how have you done to help? And has that caused any issues between you and him, or him in school and other people?
Well, he's shown interest in electronics and in coding, and my daughter has shown interest in science, engineering and stuff, also drawing. But with my son, because I used to fix computers and build websites before all these instant website builders came up, I'm trying to help him see if he's going to be interested in electronics, and I can teach him how to build computers, build any kind of electronic, because they're all basically the same nowadays. So just trying to see which direction he wants to go in, and encourage him. I encourage my kids to follow their dreams, whatever their dreams are. I mean, right now he's talking about he wants to be a professional video game player. Oh, go for it. He's already pretty good.
Those are things he's learning from you. I know you're my computer guy. When I have trouble, I call you up and you just tell me, yeah, push this button, do that, do this, Boom. And my computer's fixed. You've even helped me with my phone a couple times when you were here. I don't know if you remember that. Plus, you fixed my computer that time when you were here. So that's great that he's into that. But he's also into video games. I know that because I'm a follower of his YouTube channel, and I've also given him a shout out. So, what was it? It's Real Player at YouTube. So, everybody out there, get a chance. Look at his videos. They're excellent. They're on-screen player, so you can see the video game as he's playing it, and he's giving you some pointers. And if there's a spot that you're having trouble getting past or a difficulty understanding, watch his videos because you'll get some really great tips. So maybe that's an avenue that he may be wanting to get into. Video games and video game design and graphic design is really big right now, especially not just in video games, but also in major films and television. Do you think that might be an avenue he may be wanting to explore?
I do know definitely one of the avenues he wants to explore is he wants to be a professional YouTuber. And like you said, he loves playing video games, and believe it or not, those videos he creates for his YouTube channel, he does them on his own, and the guy's not even 10 yet. So it shows you how electronically inclined he is. He's very intelligent when it comes to electronics. So I see a very bright future ahead for him for whatever he plans on doing for the rest of his life as a career.
So what would you say in the future now would be some of the challenges that you're expecting, and how are you preparing for that?
Well, to tell you the truth, I've quit looking towards the future. I'm just living each day by day now. If I think about the future, I see my children in college or university getting scholarships. Last year my daughter barely passed her grade, and from not doing her homework, always lying to me about doing her homework. Now, after she learned from last year, she's now doing it. But I actually see them doing what they want to do in life in the future, and all I'm doing is just pushing them to succeed in life. And that's what my job is to do, is to push them and help them succeed. And that's all I see myself doing in the future, is encouraging and pushing them.
That's job number one. Encouraging our children towards a positive future and encouraging them in the direction that they need to go, or they want to go, and giving them the tools that you learn as a parent and in your parenting skills. Those are things that they can use towards the future. And you are a very outgoing guy. I mean, you're very level-headed. You work hard, and your children are seeing that and they're learning from you. And that's excellent, because I know you being the smartest guy I knew in high school. You used to do my homework for me. I used to pay you in candy and junk food and stuff like that, so you would do my homework, and I always got better grades because you were my homework guy. So that's interesting. Little tidbit, side thing you know about me now, people. Try to forget that. I hope my kids aren't listening. So, Jerry, what would you say then, as we're closing here, what do you said you're not really looking towards the future, that's understanding. But what would you say, what would make life easier now? What would you like to do? What do you do as a single parent? Your kids are in the school. What are some of the things that you do to get by? Hobbies, things like that?
Well, one of the things I usually do and mostly do is like my son, I have one game that I guess you could say I'm addicted to, since I have nothing else except a house to clean up, and that's a continuous job. And being depressed a lot, I just lose myself in that game, and I've started to come to realize that I've been doing that and been neglecting a lot of things, and now I'm trying to change that and trying to quit smoking and just, start cleaning and stop thinking. And that's what I need to do. And quit playing that game all the time.
One of the things that we deal with as a single parent is we all deal with depression. And it's a difficult thing. So it's nothing surprising, not the only one. What would you say? What are you doing to deal with that depression?
Well, for one, the way I'm trying to deal with it is I've been following this one person on Facebook. He's got a lot of good stuff and information and stuff. And he talked about rewiring our brain. I just saw it yesterday or the day before. Really good stuff he has, and he says smile for 15 seconds and that'll change your brain, and then take deep breaths, and I'm trying all kinds of different stuff. I'm trying not to think about being lonely anymore. A lot of people say you're not alone, you have kids. Well, yeah, you're not alone when you have kids, but you still feel lonely. People don't understand that. You're going to always feel lonely when you don't have a partner in your life.
I totally understand. I went through a lot of what you're saying. A lot of people say, if you have children, you're never lonely. Problem is, it's not the same. When you're dealing with depression, you can be in a room with 100 people and still feel like you're alone. Jerry, I care a lot about you. And a lot of these things that you're talking about do worry me. I worry about your kids, I worry about you. And I pray for you guys a lot, basically every night. The one thing I can tell you, though, is, have you thought about counseling? Have you thought about going to a therapist? Maybe taking some kind of antidepressants? There's no shame in asking for help and seeking help. And there's no shame in taking medications. Because if it can help you, you need to do whatever you can to stay healthy, both physically and mentally. Because how else are you going to help your children if you're not fully in your senses?
Well, I realized that I actually brought on my own depression. Always thinking about how lonely I am, and that gets you depressed, and then you get into that cycle. And I've realized I need to stop thinking like that. I may not have somebody in my life, but so what? My kids are happy with me. I get complimented about how much of a gentleman or how much of a little lady the gentleman my son is, and the little lady my daughter is, And they see me helping strangers. It doesn't matter what sex they are, I help couples that were trying to buy cleaning products, and they had a newborn baby. Of course, they couldn't afford it. I could. I had a little extra money. My kids see stuff like that. They see me buying food for strangers, who couldn't afford something, and they're putting it back. So, I'm trying to show my kids to help others. And that's where I've been focusing myself on lately, is just helping others and not focus on my loneliness, because as long as I focus on that, my life is going to be stuck in a rut. So I need to focus on other things, like doing my housework, and stop being lazy and stop playing video games so much.
Yes, the frame of mind is an important aspect. If you can think it, you'll be it. And if you convince yourself that you're depressed, you'll be depressed. The only thing I can keep stressing to you is you may want to talk to a therapist, you may want to seek some kind of counseling and perhaps medication. Sometimes when your brain starts to accept these things, your body adapts to that thought, and you start losing things like serotonin and melatonin and things like that, of that nature, that medications help restore that. Sometimes they'll block some of the stuff because you're at abundance of it. But try to get some counseling, brother. It's really important, and your kids will be better off for it. They'll start seeing that you're willing to admit those problems and that you're seeking help for it. And like I said, I care a lot for you, and a lot of these things break my heart to hear that you guys are going through this stuff. I'm always here for you anytime you need to talk. Sometimes you need to talk to a professional to help put you in the right path. And you've got the right ideas. You got the right ideas, but sometimes a professional therapist, they're trained in helping you figure out how to achieve those goals. And when you don't achieve them, you end up kicking yourself and making yourself feel worse. Therapy will help you understand we all fall down, brother. It's important to get back up, and how to get back up. Now, just a couple more questions here. What are some of the things that you do with your children to build bonding relationships? Do you go to the park? Do you guys fish together? Build puzzle? Do you play video games together? What are some of the activities that you do to build that relationship with your children?
Sometimes we go to the park. I've taken them to the movies. We watch movies at home. Sometimes we play video games together. Sometimes I just sit and watch them play a video game. We talk. A lot of times they're comfortable enough to just be in their own rooms a lot of times, doing their own thing. But when they need dad time, they just come out and have dad time. Anytime they want to come and sit with dad, they come and sit with dad. I can't specifically say everything that we do to bond. I try to do a lot of firsts with them, like when we were down there, we spent that week down there at your place, and we went to Santa Monica. That was the first time I've ever been to Santa Monica Pier, and oh my God, my kids loved it, and now they want to move down there. They want to move to the LA area. I don't want to move down in that area, but you know me, I'm a country boy.
I hear you, brother. We're both country boys. We grew up in Cloverdale and Hillsburg. What do they expect? It was great having your kids down here. Even when we got a chance to go down to Hollywood, we went to the La Brea Tar Pits. It's an exciting place. You're always welcome here. I'd love for you guys to live closer. That would give us a chance to help each other out and encourage each other. Right now, we're pretty much doing it through cell phones and video chatting. But it'd be nice to be able to have barbecues together and stuff like that. Also, building that time with your children is important. But one thing that you touched on is really important is children need their own time. My kids, they like their own time. They love spending time with me, and I love spending time with them. Sometimes they just need to be alone. They want to play video games in their room, like my son Jesse. Emily loves poetry and drawing and writing, so she does that. Haley, you know, is autistic, so she really needs her alone time for her to reassess, calm down, and not get overwhelmed. So it's important as a parent to recognize that fact. And when they're ready to spend time with you, they'll come right out and spend time with you. Sometimes you got to push them a little bit, but it's important to recognize that your children are growing up and they have their own interests, and some of those interests aren't going to be your interests. Some of those interests you may not be able to share together, but it is important to recognize sometimes they need their alone time, and sometimes, all times, they need to be an individual. So we're going to be closing this out now, Jerry. Is there anything else that you want to say before we do end the videos? Do you want to say anything to parents? Some encouraging stuff, some things that, whatever you want to say.
Well, you know, the only thing I can say is, even though they do spend a lot of time in their room, at least 5-6 times before bedtime, because they get home, you know, they get home about 3 o'clock from school, and I would say 5-6 times after school, after their homework is done and they've been spending time in the room, they just come out, give me a hug, say, "I love you, Dad," and then go right back into the room. That is the best feeling to get. They just want to come out and give me a hug and tell me they love me, and then they go back. And I gotta say, Elvis has left the building.
Well, Jerry, that right there, it shows you that you are a nurturing parent. You are fulfilling that mom role just as much as you're fulfilling that dad role. Your kids are seeing it, they recognize it, and they love you, even if they want to spend their own time. I want to thank you, brother, for joining us and giving us this great interview. I know I took a little bit of your time. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it, and I love you a lot. Tell my nephew and niece when they get home from school, they did this video, you did this video, we did this video, and tell them that Uncle Jimmy loves them. So, everyone, thank you for joining me. As you can see, again, we did this on Marco Polo. I'm trying this new thing out to see which one will be the best way to do these videos, on-screen videos, split-screen videos, where the other person that I'm trying to interview isn't available or isn't close enough to do these kind of videos. So let's see what happens. Cross your fingers and hope that everything comes out. Again, I want to do that shout out to Double Punches Boxing Club in Santa Rosa, California. I'll put the link to where you can find their ads or their Facebook page. And if you live in Northern California, get a chance, go down there, doing some positive stuff there for the community and for our children. Also, don't forget my nephew's YouTube page. Drop by and see it. That's at realplayer@youtube.com. And thank you very much for joining us. Don't forget to like my video, subscribe to my video, and check the notification button so that you'll know whenever we post a new video. Thank you for joining me. I'm Jimmy. This is The Real Dad Show. And comment below. Let me know how you like this video. The last thing I love to say, anybody can be a father, but it takes a real special person to be a dad. Thank you, and God bless.